Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to update you all on how my quarter went. I am officially on break and I've been on break for about a week and I'm already going back tomorrow. So breaks are pretty short on the quarter system, especially between summer and fall quarter since I started in the summer. So I start tomorrow, but this break has been a lot of just chilling and going up and getting apple cider donuts and watching shows and just hanging out. And today it'll be filled with me making pumpkin scones and setting up some Halloween decorations, even though it's not even the end of September. So that's how I'm going to enjoy my time, my last few free hours before starting back. I want to recap on how my quarter went. So I ended up actually getting the class rep position. So I'm one of the class reps for the nurse practitioner students. And then there's also class reps for the PA students. So we are collaborating to figure out some fun things for this quarter and also going forward. The other thing that happened is I ended up getting one of the clinic positions. So I will be starting with my clinic rotations starting next month. So I will be volunteering and doing history taking and working with doctors and figuring out what we're going to do for these patients, ordering prescriptions, writing in the chart, doing a full expensive soap note. So it's going to be a really good experience and I'm actually really excited about it. And then in terms of how I did with my grades, I ended up getting an A in my hardest class. So I ended up getting a 97 point something percent. So it was a true A. And then I got 2 A minuses, which is great on all my other classes. And I did get 1 B in my 1 unit course. So that one, it was just because there were so few assignments and I ended up getting a 4 out of 5 on a few quizzes. So it's not going to make a big difference in my practice and how I learn the material. So I'm really happy to get A's in all my core classes, the ones that are really important for my knowledge and my future practice. So I'm very happy with my first quarter. I have heard that the second quarter is a bit more challenging. We have some really tough topics coming up. So we're going to learn about cardiology, pulmonology, GI, and GU, which is like the main systems in the body, as well as hematology and oncology. So that's what's coming up. I did want to talk a little bit about my successful study strategies and what helped me to get these decent grades in school. So one thing that really helped me is utilizing the program Sketchy. So I know I mentioned that in one of my previous videos, maybe the last one or the one before that. But Sketchy is this program that you can pay for, and it basically creates a whole story for you to help you remember the actions or mechanisms of a medication or maybe just a disease system, putting a picture to what's happening. So an example of this is something really fun is they made a kind of Star Wars themed thing in one of the antibiotic sections. So for the cephalosporins, to signify the cephalosporins, there's 5 generations and they use cephalopods to signify those generations. So there were 5 cephalopods sitting at the table and they were different generals and each one had a specific name with a name tag, and then like ceftriaxone had 3 axes on their back. So if you can picture these 5 cephalopods at the table and you can remember their name tags and then some of the pictures associated with it, then you can remember some of the coverage. So they would also have these little ships down in front of them as they're battle planning, and the gram-positive bacteria would show up as these purple ships because when you gram stain them, then that's what the bacteria look like under a gram stain. And the gram-negative bacteria would be the pink ships. So you would know based on the amount of ships or based on the color of the ships that it had more gram-positive coverage versus gram-negative or vice versa. So that's a little bit into the weeds about the program, but if you are in medical school, if you are in PA or NP school, I feel like this program is amazing. So the other thing that was really helpful is creating mnemonics for different disease conditions, mostly for the antibiotics. So I would basically make a sentence out of the beginnings of the different antibiotics names so that I could remember the mechanism or the side effects of an antibiotic or which antibiotics are within a certain class, things like that. So super helpful. I realized that writing out and drawing every single disease mechanism is not working. So every single section, I seem to kind of change it up. So I'm sure that I'll come up with different ways to practice and learn, and every quarter it'll be a new struggle. But the other thing that I also did is I did tons of practice questions. So I use that program called Osmosis, and Osmosis is another teaching tool, and it has tons of videos that help to break down different disease conditions, different antibiotics, and that was a really good tool to help to go a little bit more in detail about things, more than what we even needed to learn in class. But sometimes when you're confused about something, it's easier to get way more detail and then pick it up a little bit more surface level so that you can understand the bigger picture all the way down to the cellular level. So things like that really help me. And then Osmosis also has tons of practice questions that are very, very challenging, very low level, very detailed. And then it gives you really good explanations about why the answers are right or wrong or whatever. So things like that are really helpful for test taking. You know, eventually I'll be testing for my boards, and this is a good way to do like a knowledge check to see how well you're actually retaining the information as you're learning. So I think that a good mix of those three things are really helpful. And then, like I said, every quarter or every subject, I'm sure that I'll be changing it up a little bit. And I'm sure for some of these future subjects, especially things like cardiology, I'll be drawing out tons of things like I used to before. So I'm really looking forward to that because I really liked drawing it out, if you guys couldn't tell. But yeah. And when I talked to my dad, he said that I should talk about some of the questions that I originally did prior to starting the quarter before I start this next quarter. So I will revisit some of those questions. I won't do all of them because I think that some of the questions are better left for a little bit farther along in the program once I have a little bit more experience. But I will talk about what am I most excited about. So the things that I'm most excited about are starting the clinics. I am excited to start new topics, and especially going into cardiology. I really loved that topic when I was in nursing school. And as a nurse, I really was excited to work in the cardiac units and take care of patients with these cardiac conditions and understand fully what was happening with them. So I'm hoping that my nursing knowledge can really carry into being a nurse practitioner and learning it in school and learning it a little bit more detail. So I'm really excited about that. I am excited about the rest of our skills. So this fall, we are learning the rest of our physical exam. And we're also going to learn suturing, which is a really cool skill that I'm really excited to do. So we start that probably 2 months in, which is actually kind of close to the end of the quarter, but that's okay. It's just an introduction to the suturing, and then I'm sure it will continue as we go forward. But fun things to look forward to. And then I am also actually looking forward to being a class rep. It's pretty cool because I have some really good support to help make things happen. I think it will be fun to try to make change, try to create some events, and also make sure that everybody's voices are heard. So being a class rep is really cool because we are in contact with the teachers and also in contact with the upperclassmen to troubleshoot, work together, and see what problems are present across the different cohorts, and also seeing if we can figure out solutions to the problems that people are having. So one of the issues that we've already seen is that people were feeling like they're not getting enough feedback with their physical exams. So people were practicing their physical exams. They were feeling like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I feel like I'm doing all the steps. You know, we had the prompt that basically told us what would be graded on, and we didn't have somebody coming in and telling us, oh, you're not doing that right, or you're not listening in that right spot, or you're not doing this motion correct, or you're not giving this direction correctly. So it was kind of hands off. You know, we would get kind of a demonstration at the beginning, and then we would be working with our lab partner to try to figure out how we would go about doing these things and then practicing. So one of the solutions that we had come up with is maybe having an open lab and having some additional office hours so that we can have some more feedback when we felt like we needed it. So I'm not sure if that will happen, but that's something that we're working on. We're in contact with the teachers and the director of the program, and I have hopes of it happening and changing in the future, but it'll most likely happen probably after I graduate. So it's one of those things that we're starting to get moving, and then it'll hopefully help people as they're going through the program later on. So we'll see how that goes. I am also excited about a white coat ceremony. So our white coat ceremony is in 2 days, and basically if you went through nursing school, then you know that you have a white coat ceremony for that as well. So the PAs and NPs also have a white coat ceremony, and it feels really exciting because as we're getting our white coats, these are the symbol that we're going into this new profession and taking on these new challenges, and we're eventually going to have this new role in our patients' lives, which is really cool and really symbolic. And I'm not sure exactly what will be said as we're up there, but all I know is that I remember how special the white coat ceremony felt when I went through it in nursing school. And I'm really looking forward to having that again in this new profession as I go forward. Now, it is a little bit different than that because I can't have my family there, so we are going to be broadcasting it online. So my school has done that. But you know, it's still nice that we're able to retain some normalcy as we're still going through this pandemic. And then for fall, we're actually continuing through our classes in the same way we did through summer for now. So right now we're staying in the Zoom classes and we're not going to go back in person yet. So the only things we do in person are our clinical skills when we work with our lab partner to try to figure out the skills, and then and practicing them. So yeah. One question I do want to address as well is how much time outside of school is realistic to be studying? Now, I don't think I realized exactly how many hours I would spend studying until I got into the program. So I am not sure how to answer this. I will say that every minute that I'm not in class and not at work, I feel like I should be studying. I also realize that taking breaks is important and spending time with your family is important. So if you have kids and you're working and you're in school, I think this is extremely challenging. So I will say for me, I probably spent maybe realistically like 6 to 8 hours a day. So it's like having a full-time job. So needless to say, going to my classes Monday through Friday and then also working on the weekends has been very challenging, but obviously it's doable because I was able to get really good grades and feel like I have a good mastery of the material. I think that if you have kids, that you can definitely pass and you can have a decent mastery of the material, but you may or may not get A's. So it just depends on how your brain works. For me, it takes a really long time to understand the material, and then once I understand the material, it's like there, it's stuck. But for some people, you know, they look at it once and they just get it, and then they don't need to study and spend a lot of time doing it. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. But I would say that you should expect to spend at least 6 hours a day studying. Maybe 4 hours would be sufficient between homework and studying to be successful. And I guess that kind of addresses how working while going to school is. It's very challenging. I feel very tired while I'm in school. But it feels very rewarding when I do really well. I kind of forgot how rewarding doing well in school is. You can feel like you're in this rut and not doing well for a week or two and feel like you don't know anything. And then all of a sudden a light bulb happens and you all of a sudden understand this concept that you've been struggling with for a week and a half ever since the teacher talked about it. And then once you get it, you just feel great. And then when you test on it and you do well, it just is that validation that you were supposed to be in grad school, you were meant to be here, and you can do it. So I think sometimes when you start grad school, you get this imposter syndrome, especially as a nurse. You know, you have this mastery working and you feel very competent in your field, and you just go into this area and you're like, am I really going to do well? Am I really going to be successful as a practitioner? And you're not too sure when you first start if you're going to do well. And then when you get those really good grades, it just validates that you are capable of doing this And eventually you are going to be a great practitioner, even though you're new and you're still learning tons of things right now. Eventually you will be great and you will have a good mastery of all the material. When you do that final test after you graduate and get your licensure, that is the thing that tells you, hey, all of this school and studying and everything that you did, it was all worth it. See, you can do it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all that hard work pay off. I know that it's going to be really challenging and from now until then, but I can see how all the hours studying, all the time where I'm not doing fun things and I'm just sitting here and studying and going to my classes and going to work, it feels very tedious and it feels like it's going to take so long, but I can see that when I finish, it's just going to all be worth it and it's going to be great. And I'm trying to find those positives as I'm going through school, like the clinics, where I'm able to get a glimpse of how it's going to be as I'm actually working as a practitioner and see how it's all going to pay off. So I will keep you guys posted and let you know. I'll try to post more frequent videos. Clearly every week is not working for me. So maybe every 2 weeks I'll try to post a video and I'll let you know how I'm doing, how my classes are going, what I'm studying, and what my current study techniques are, things like that. So until next time, bye. Hello, thank you for watching my video. If you like the video and want to subscribe and see more videos like this every week, go ahead and hit the like button down below and subscribe. You can leave comments and ask me any questions about what it's like going through NP school or what it's like being a nurse. And then eventually you can ask me how it is to be a nurse practitioner. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. I'll be around, and whatever it is you have going on in your life, you got this.